it's important to do lifestyle checks on Romualdez and other politicians who are being linked to this scandal because it's a way to understand their wealth and possibly where public funds go when there's no paper trail. A lot of my previous episodes have looked at tracing the wealth of the former House Speaker, and this is why. I just wanted to explain that it is important to do lifestyle checks. We're seeing a lot of local news outlets doing the same. My report today on this Amanpulo property follows other multi-million properties previously reported on by other newsrooms like Rappler. Rappler has, of course, revealed other properties linked to the former House Speaker, including a mansion in Soto Grande, one of Spain's most exclusive residential communities, and a Forbes Park property in the Philippines. Of course, that's also an ultra-exclusive residential village for the top 1% who live in the country. The Spanish property was allegedly acquired in 2024, Forbes Park in 2023, and I can tell you that this Palawan property was allegedly acquired in 2024. Now, these are, of course, the years when the former House Speaker was the head of the House of Representatives. As for the transaction itself, the amount that I've heard repeatedly was $14 million, that this villa cost $14 million to acquire. Now, do we know for sure that that was the amount? We don't. But according to a Christie's real estate press release in 2016, about 10 years ago, an Aman 4-bedroom villa was listed at 12 million US dollars. So we can assume that the $14 million is a reasonable amount if 10 years ago a similar villa was already worth 12 million US dollars. But first off, let's look at Amanpulo Resort. For those of you who are not familiar with this resort has reportedly hosted some of the most famous figures in the world who have visited the Philippines. That includes Brad Pitt, his then wife Angelina Jolie, Madonna, Beyonce, Bill Gates, Mariah Carey. So it's really a very exclusive island. And not a lot of everyday Filipinos have ever set foot on this island because you can only reach this island through a private jet. I'm going to read a description by Vogue Singapore on Amanpulo, just to drive this home to you all. Situated on Pamalican Island and fringed by white sand beaches and turquoise waters, Amanpulo sits as a national wonder. Just as outstanding as the islands in the Maldives and in the Caribbean, paradise here somehow feels more precious, as well as the sheer exclusivity of the place, given that the only way to arrive here is via a private plane. I'm gonna read further down because this describes the island a little more. It spans 85 acres. Villas and casitas are generously sprawled out, mostly bridging with a wide strip of coral sand as well as the jungle within. Can you just visualize how beautiful this island is? Given the expansive space in the resort, guests can get around by cycling or driving around in their own club car or a golf cart for those who don't know. Those housed in villas get the assistance of their personal butler to do all of that. Basically, one can decide how active or placid you would like to be on this vacation, and in the case of Aman, the latter seems to be the obvious choice. Now, for those who are watching this on YouTube, you can see the photos that we're showing here. Turquoise blue waters, gorgeous white sand. It is paradise. Now, the villa that the former House Speaker allegedly acquired is Villa 20. Villa 20 is spread just over an acre and consists of 4 standalone ensuite bedrooms surrounding an infinity pool. And it is located in one of the more remote parts of the island, closest to the landing strip. And so it's even more exclusive within this ultra exclusive island. And that villa, Villa 20, also known as the Palawan Villas, I'm now showing some photos, again, for those watching this video, is described as being positioned along the island's spectacular coastline. I'm reading this off of the Aman website. And it says the elegant 4-bedroom beachside villas are designed around a plunge pool and expansive deck with 351 square meters of interior space for guests to retreat. And it is absolutely beautiful. And the villas actually have what they call casitas, and those are what was, as previously described, they're standalone bedrooms with their own living space within them. So imagine 4 casitas in this acre of land around the swimming pool with beachfront access on the white sand and turquoise blue waters. It is absolutely stunning. Now, I was told that on paper, Villa 20, the villa in question, is owned by a company called Kamansi Holdings. So I went to the Securities and Exchange Commission to get the paperwork for Kamansi, and this is what it said. So I have the paperwork with me right here. Kamansi paperwork shows that its principal office address and business address is Pamalican Island, Cuyo, Palawan, which is where the luxurious Amanpulo resort is. So that checks out. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There was indeed a change of names in the paperwork between 2023 and 2024, which is the year that the former House Speaker allegedly acquired the property. The names of the board of directors completely changed, the officers completely changed. Now, this is significant because those are the names that make decisions about the properties that the company owns. It's also interesting to note that Kamansi did not file paperwork for 2025 as of recording time. So the latest paperwork I have is from 2024, and this is what I'm going to refer to. But it filed every single year since 2008. This was incorporated in 2007, by the way, the company. It's filed every single year except 2025. And of course, we know that last year is when the investigations on various congressmen really started. So we don't know if that's related, but I thought it was important to note. So what are the names that appear in the Kamansi 2024 paperwork? There are 2 holding companies listed as majority shareholders of Kamansi Holdings. The first holding company is called Silesian Holdings, and it owns 59.9% of Kamansi. And so we would assume then that it owns about 60%, let's say, of the villa, right? Villa 20. In 2023, which is the last year that Silesian filed paperwork, so note it did not file in 2024, the name of the previous owner of the villa appears on Silesian. It's the previous owner's name and his lawyers. I've independently confirmed that the name on the paperwork did own the villa, and this previous owner used the villa during holidays over the years. Silesian has filed paperwork diligently every single year since 2008. And every single year, it has shown the same name of the previous owner of the villa all those years. But in 2024, the alleged year that it was acquired, Silesian Holdings, which again previously named the owner of the villa, did not file paperwork. So we don't know who is the listed owner of the villa because Silesian did not file their paperwork. Now, what could this mean? Well, I spoke to a lawyer, and the lawyer told me that sometimes they choose to not file because paying for delayed filing, paying for penalties for filing late would be less of a risk than being dishonest about names of ownership, or especially when they know that this property or paperwork can be scrutinized. So that's really interesting. Now, I did mention that there was a second holding company that appears in the 2024 paperwork of Come and See. Now, note that this company did not appear in any other years until 2024. So this is a new holding company that's now appearing. And it says that this company, Corporate Asia Holdings, owns 40% of Come and See. Or if the assets of Come and See Holdings is the villa, then 40% of the villa. It says that the company is a British-owned company based in Hong Kong. But when I looked at the Hong Kong registry, no company name exists. And the only active company that's even close to its name is a secretarial service. And it's Chinese owners, so that's not the company that we're looking for. Now, look, we don't know if this is a non-existent company that's just listed under Come and See Holdings to make it appear that there is a British owner who owns this villa, because there are several explanations for this. Perhaps the spelling of the company was wrong. I noticed that the address listed for Corporate Asia Holdings Limited spelled garden as Gowden. So perhaps giving them the benefit of the doubt, maybe there was a typo and the company was misspelled, and that's why it's not appearing in the Hong Kong registry. Maybe. Maybe it's a non-existent company, or maybe there was a lack of due diligence by the Securities and Exchange Commission for not catching that this company doesn't exist. We don't know for sure. But what I can tell you is that I did search the Hong Kong company registry and did not find this company, Corporate Asia Holdings Limited, which is appearing for the very first time in the paperwork as of 2024. So those are the two companies that is said to own the villa or is said to be shareholders of Come and See. Again, Silesian Holdings owns 59.9%, and the Corporate Asia Holdings Limited, the company we can't find, owns 40%. So we still have a 0.1% of shareholders, right? And these are the names of those stockholders. Now, the new names are all Filipinos as of 2024, and each of them allegedly have 0.003% of the shares of this company. Now, the name that really stood out to me was the treasurer, the newly appointed treasurer as of 2024, and that is Mr. Jose Raulito E. Paras. If you've heard this name before, that's because he's the same lawyer who was listed in the paperwork of the multi-million Spain property and the Forbes property with alleged links to the former House Speaker. Now let's look at this individual closer. Mr. Paras is a former director at Benguet Corporation. We know that that is a company owned by Representative Romualdez. He's a lawyer, he owns a law firm, and he's also a fraternity brother and a close business associate of the former House Speaker. And yes, this is the same name that controls the multi-million Spain property worth 6.9 million euros, or about 8.3 million US dollars, or for Philippine pesos, 487 million pesos. And it's also the same name on the 1.65 billion peso or $28.3 million Forbes property, both of which have been reported on by Rappler. And so it's that same lawyer's name with links to Representative Romualdez, whose name appears in the Amanpulo property. Now, there are 3 other lawyers named here, but I'm choosing not to name them because when I did more research on who they are, these 3 names are junior associates in Mr. Paras's firm. There's one who is listed as a corporate secretary, but he's just a junior associate in Mr. Paras's firm. Another name listed there as well, just recently graduated from law school. And the third name is even a junior lawyer with Mark Ventures, another mining company owned by the former House Speaker. So these three junior associates plus Mr. Paras are four names all linked to the former House Speaker. Now, there's also one new name that appears, and that is of Mr. Jose C. Ibazeta. He is the listed chairman of the board of Kamansi Holdings. Who is he? Well, he is the current chairman of Pamalican Island Holdings, which controls Amanpulo Resort. But he also had a top role at Atlas Consolidated Mining. Now, in the 2008 Statement of Assets, Liabilities of Net Worth, Mr. or Representative Romualdez himself said that he is a stockholder of Atlas Consolidated Mining and Development Corporation, the same mining company. So already there's a link there. I've also found a photo online in 2024 of the former House Speaker with Mr. Ibazeta in a event for a Spain and Philippines business event. So we know for sure that they know each other. And it is curious as to why his name appears also in the paperwork that year.